question, but I just wanted to say thank you for co-sponsoring this for today and helping it to pass.
Yes, ma'am.
We hear a lot of talk about banning CRTs, but I think until we actually define exactly what that is, then we're going to have a problem enforcing it. We've seen it in our district just come in under another name. So how are we addressing that?
How are we addressing that? I think you have to go and let my distinguished colleagues in the House also address it. I think the way you've got to define what the definition is that you don't want to be taught in anything regardless of whatever name. Because I know it's, and listen, we're in a chess match. We move, they move. We move, they move. As long as we can, keep them on defense and keep putting them in the corner, we're going to win this game. We're going to win this thing eventually. But to your question, I don't think we can define it by a title. We have to define it by a description. And then that way, whatever title they hang on, the description is what does it. And then we put the punitive actions on top of it, because if you pass a bill with no teeth, it doesn't matter.
That was going to be my next question. How are we going to make sure that, because what we found in Pulaski County is that policies are only good as the administrators that enforce them. And so if we have an administrator who knows that there's something going on, but they agree with what's going on, they don't hold the teacher to the consequences. So we need to know that teachers who teach against what the law says and administrators who don't enforce the law are going to be held accountable to some degree, and if they're not, then it's going to be sort of like what Joe Biden has done for the last 2 years. I'm going to do it until someone stops me.
Okay, to your point, I think the way that we address that is you've got to, if you don't do something punitive such as Fair Dismissal Act, or you would have it where if you violate this, that there is a penalty severe enough that it costs you your license. You got to go for the licensure. If you don't go for the licensure, if you don't go for the suspension, then it doesn't really affect them. And the other thing is that if you know what the law is, the law says don't do it, you do it, and you lose your license as a result, you don't have anybody to blame yourself. And then you got to cut the pipeline off is what you got to do. And in legislation, it's about strategy and knowing what the other side is doing in order to get the legislation in place with punitive action. And that applies not only to teachers, but a lot of other things too, like election integrity, etc. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Shooting a bug away from it.
Thing to be struck down by a judge if it is passed.
Everything's subject to be before a lawsuit. A lawsuit go before. I know our Attorney General, I think, is prepared to defend it. I think that they consulted, as far as making sure that it was legally within the boundaries that we would, that we would stand a good chance of winning. So, I have full faith and confidence with our Attorney General that is of like-mindedness, that he'll do whatever he's got to do in the way of resources to get it. I figure there's going to be a lawsuit. I figure if it gets in front of Judge Baker or somebody like that, it's probably going to, be stayed, and then we just play the game and we go up the ladder until we get to the right court.
By your judge election.